You know I've traveled near and far, see the shining sea. I've seen a lot of places and people that were nice to me. One place that's in my heart, and this is how I feel. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. She's nestled in the sand hills on a river called Fayetteville. Special to so many who proudly served our country here. She was named for Lafayette and known for cotton mills. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. Babe Ruth hit his first one, heard around the world. Sherman marched with the Union and burned the arsenal. Old Market House still standing, but stands for freedom's will. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. My all-American city, Fayetteville. Talking about my hometown, Fayetteville.
Good evening and welcome to the November 13th, 2017 regular Fayetteville City Council meeting. Our first item of business is the invocation. Would like to ask Pastor Cece, Carrie Cameron, to come to the podium, please, and lead us with an invocation. If everybody would please rise and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to follow. Pastor Cameron, if you would remain at the podium when we're done, I'd like to come back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Father, we thank you right now for this great opportunity to come before you as one body. We come before you giving you thanks. We come before you saying we appreciate you for all that you have done for this city of Fayetteville. We thank you for everyone that has joined here together. Father, we thank you for watching over us and keeping us safe. Thank you for watching over our cities, our streets, our officers, our police force. Father, we thank you for our city councilmen, our mayors, and we thank you that we have a great future ahead of us. And we thank you for the time that we had behind us. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, Pastor Cece.
Thank you, Mayor.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Tell us something about your ministry and what you do.
Be glad to. My name is Carrie Cameron. I'm the pastor and senior pastor, actually, of Upper Room Family Fellowship, here located here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I am a native New Yorker. I've been here for the last 4 years, and I'm super excited to be living here. I am now under the leadership of Pastor Shirley Caesar. We just settled that a couple of days ago. I'm so happy to. I am also the founder of North Carolina Teen Alcohol Prevention Awareness. And what we do is we go out in the community and we actually speak to teenagers about underage drinking and to prevent that. And on October the 28th, we were so honored by the mayor to receive our proclamation for what we are doing. So we just want to thank Mayor Nat for being a proud supporter of us and being there for our teens. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You're a great community partner.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Councilmember Jensen, Youth Council recognition.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I would like to introduce our Fayetteville, Cumberland County Youth Council member, Haiti Matos, and she goes to Polytech High School. And I'm going to put it over to Haiti, and she's going to give us an update on what's going on with the Youth Council.
Hi, I'm Haiti Montez, and one of the past events that we have been involved in was the Military Appreciation Day we hosted. One of Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council's goals is to give back to the defining part of Fayetteville, which is the military community. On November 4th, the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council hosted their very first Military Appreciation Social at the FCYC office, presenting Patriot Ballads, their hygiene service. At this time, I would like to recognize the City Council members who have served: Councilmember Mr. DeVere, Mr. McDougald, Mr. Crisp, Mr. Wright, Mr. Moan, and Mr. Arp. We have a token of appreciation from the FCYC for your service in the United States Armed Forces. We also cannot forget the dedication of military spouses, so at this time, we would also like to recognize Councilwoman Jensen as well. Thank you. The Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council is an organization of students from all over the county, including public, private, and home schools, that strive to make an impact in our community on a daily basis. And we are honored to be allowed to sit in on meetings such as the City Council and the County Commissioners and give our voice and opinions and ideas. We have also have upcoming events such as Christmas in the Park, which will be held in December for your entertainment, as well as friends and family. So please come out and join us. We are partnering with the Parks and Rec Center. So our next upcoming event afterwards will be in January, known as the Next Step Teen Symposium, that will be held January 22nd. And it is primarily for high school students, but we are also open to 7th and 8th graders in middle school. So if you guys could please share the word. Yes. And we hope to see some of the City Council in the National League of Cities. The Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council will be leaving Wednesday, November the 15th to Charlotte.
Great. Very good. How many are going over to Charlotte?
I believe it is 8.
8 representatives. Great. And that's the National 18? That's the National League of Cities Conference.
Yes,
That's a great experience for you. So good.
And
Congratulations.
Mr. Mayor, we to even add on to that, we do have, I think, 4 children coming back that are in college that have been asked by the National League of Cities to be to be chaperones for that. So Fayetteville will have 4 college-age students being chaperones.
And just so we know the impact that this youth council is making, we have been recognized by the state. Can you tell us something about the state awards that have been won?
Some of the state awards that we have been acknowledged with have been Most Diverse Council, as well as Most Outstanding Community Service Project, and Most Outstanding Member. So those are just some of the few recognitions that we get thanks to being able to voice our opinions and impact and help from our city council, especially our mayor.
Great. Well, thank you. After 3.5 years, you guys are really making an impact. Congratulations. Thank you for doing what you do. Councilmember Larry Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pathways for Prosperity. You are invited. Join the community conversation about poverty in our community. We will review the community survey results, discuss and determine our goals and how we move forward as a community to reduce generational poverty. Your voice and input matters as this important issue for our community. November the 18th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Department of Social Services, 1225 Ramsey Street. Lunch provided for all attendees. Pathwaysforprosperity.org. Go there and find out for more information. RSVP online at rsvp.pathwaysforprosperity.org or email pathways4, email pathways4prosperities@gmail.com, or you could call 910-433-1979. And we invite all of the community to come out to be a part of this important endeavor, how we can impact poverty in our community. It's going to be great for all of us. See you there at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. David Lane, who's the general manager of the Fayetteville Astros, to come meet the mayor-elect and myself at the podium. Mr. Arp, if you'd read the proclamation, then we'll do the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas the city of Fayetteville would like to congratulate the Houston Astros on their hard-fought 2017 Major League Baseball World Series championship, and whereas the city of Fayetteville residents watched each game and cheered with the fans as we watched each play, knowing that we are soon to be the home of the Astros Advanced A affiliate team, and whereas the championship was a catalyst to bring together people, no matter their background, to stand up and support the Astros in their fight for greatness. And whereas the city of Fayetteville is excited to be partnering with the Houston Astros to build a brand new minor league baseball stadium in Fayetteville that will open for the 2019 playing season. And now, therefore, I, Nat Robertson, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and on behalf of the City Council and more than 208,000 citizens, do hereby honorably proclaim the first day of November in the year 2017 in honor of the Houston Astros. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the great seal of the City of Fayetteville to be affixed this 13th day of November 2017, signed Nat Robertson, Mayor, City of Fayetteville.
Let me just say this, that the Houston Astros would have never won that World Series had they not had their lucky charm of Fayetteville, North Carolina in their pocket. So, David, it's with great appreciation that I share this proclamation with you and the partnership that we have now with your ball team. Before I go any further, Council, I would like to ask for you to make this proclamation a resolution. Could we do that?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council make this a resolution.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Great. Thank you very much.
Just like to say it's been great working with Mr. Lane and the Houston Astros Professional Ball Club, that we have seen the greatness nationally, and we hope that translates to a successful stay here in Fayetteville. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. You want to say anything?
No, I'm good. We're excited.
Thank you. Council, item 5.0 is the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Art, would you accept a friendly amendment to remove or to title item 10.02? Allow further discussion by staff.
I understand that the agenda would be approved with the tabling of item 10.02 for further staff work. I accept that friendly amendment.
Second.
Mr. Colvin seconded. All right, so that's the approval of the agenda with the exception of 10.02. Council, seeing no further questions, I'll ask for your vote, please. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. We'll move to the consent agenda. That's item 6.0. Councilmember Jensen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to pull item 6.05
For discussion,
for discussion.
any other items on the consent agenda to be pulled? All right.
Mr. Mayor, I would second her motion.
Thank you, Mr. Art. All right, council, seeing no further discussion, I'll ask for your vote, please, on the consent agenda minus 6.05 for discussion. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. Ms. Jensen, we'll go back to you for 6.05.
Yes, if Deputy Manager Bauer could come up. Yes, if you could just kind of explain this, exactly what's going on for the public, for the viewing audience to know.
Council, as we've discussed before, Liberty Hills is a subdivision that has experienced some stormwater flooding due to an inadequacy of the current stormwater system that's been installed by the developer in that area. We've actually issued a notice of violation because of the failure of that system. And as part of us remedying that for the community, we'd like to move forward with a design contract, which is before you tonight, the funding for the design contract. We would then design and construct a correction to that stormwater facility, which would serve, again, only the existing Liberty Hills subdivision, not any expanded area. So it would just be the existing area, and then we'd actually perform the improvements. We'll come back to the council to fund that once we get an estimate from the design process. Then after that, we would actually seek reimbursement for those expenses, both the design and the construction, from the existing developer and designer.
Okay, so Mr. Bauer, what you're saying is the neighborhood that is already intact, there is how many more empty vacant lots there in the neighborhood that we're talking about?
I don't have a full count tonight. I know there's at least 6 or 7 under one builder's inventory, but there are some existing homes that are currently experiencing flooding, and we certainly want to address
So
that.
there's only 6 or 7 more homes that can be built in this area that we're discussing?
That I'm aware of, but I would need to get an exact count. And I can
Okay,
get that
so
for
that's
you.
a game changer that you're aware of?
That's correct. Now, again, this is the existing subdivision, which already has been platted, so it's not any expanded area outside the existing subdivision. I'm aware of only 6 vacant lots at this time. I need to go back and confirm that for you.
Mr. Manager, do you want to?
I think Ms. Jensen's referring to at full build-out of Liberty Hills, 1, 2, 3 et al., and I think that there are several hundred potentially.
Right,
But
but
for this particular one, specifically as Christoph said, but I think that was your question.
That was my question earlier today. Right now, my question is, how many are left in the subdivision that we're talking about? So you're saying 7, could that be 27? Or we're looking a max of maybe 10, is what I'm understanding.
My understanding is that it's a fairly small number. Most of the houses have been built out already. That's why we're already experiencing flooding. So I can't,
Okay,
unfortunately, I don't
so
want to.
for the record, I just want to make sure that we are talking about the one area of Liberty Hill, the other acreage that has not been developed, we are not talking about that.
Absolutely true. This is
Nothing will be done to that area.
correct. This is existing streets, existing platted lots. So this is not the area that has been undeveloped at this point. This is just on those lots that are adjacent to the existing street infrastructure, which has already been constructed.
Okay.
So anything else hasn't gone through the development review process yet and needs to come back through the development review and be approved.
Mr. Bauer, I understand also that we are holding all permits from any property or any development on any of that vacant property.
That's correct. And actually, I just was seeing a recent photograph of the area, and it confirms that really we are talking about five or six lots.
5 or 6 lots, okay. So
And this is in the packet actually as well, attachment A to your packet.
I know it was. I was just looking for the answer from y'all.
Sorry.
Then my next question is, so the other undeveloped lot area nothing can be done until it comes back to council or comes back for zoning?
It has to go through the subdivision process, that's correct.
Okay, all right. I think my questions have been answered.
But as it comes back through the process, we are denying any plans for development, is that correct?
Current notice of violation is for the existing subdivision, not any future subdivision. So any future subdivision will have to rise or fall on its own merits and its own design. This design is just for the existing development area, not to address any of the others. So when they come forward, they'll propose a stormwater system to address that area. We'll review it for adequacy and either approve it or deny it based on the quality of that engineering design.
Ms. Jensen?
Okay, again, for the record. So 4 years ago, I think to this day, when it was approved for the whole area.
No, just the area in attachment A that's been identified in your plat, just that one phase.
The second phase was not approved?
No.
Okay, so the second phase was not approved.
No.
Okay, I'm good.
Let me walk myself through this in layman tongue so that our viewers and the public will understand what we're doing here. We are about to take money from the Storm Management Fund to right a design flaw, and the design flaw was because the developers and builders. Is that correct so far?
Well, yes, it wasn't designed adequately to accommodate the flows that could be estimated to come off the properties.
Okay. Now, you mentioned a study, so we're going to have a study to tell us not what's wrong, but how we've got to fix what's wrong. Is that right?
Absolutely true.
And we're going to pay for that out of the storm water funds. And then our intent is to try and recoup a portion of, if not all of what we pay from the developer who created the flaws to start with. Is that right?
That's correct, sir.
Thank you. I just want to make sure citizens understand sometimes this legalese gets above us a little bit, so I want to break it down. Thank you.
I see no further lights. Thank you, Mr. Bauer. Ms. Jensen?
Yes, sir. I would like to make a motion that we adopt a budget ordinance amendment 2018-8 from the Stormwater Management Fund and capital project ordinance 2018-29 for professional services for Liberty Hill drainage improvements.
Seconded by Mr. Crisp. Any further discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, and the intent of this budget ordinance amendment is to fund this situation now, but the idea is we're going to get recoupment of this money back for the taxpayer. Is that correct? But that's the intent, is to get the money back, and I want to make sure that everybody understands we want to get the money back.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Art. Seeing no further questions, I'll ask for your vote, please. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. Item 7.0 is the staff reports. This month we've got Chief Gina Hawkins. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. I need help. I need a PowerPoint help, please. Who's got it? that, Thank you for the patience. I just need help with the pulling of PowerPoint, even though I supplied you all with the hard copy. Who can help me out with that? Thank you, sir. There. That's it. That's it.
You got it from here. And that should do.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Just
Thank you. First of all, thank you for allowing me to present our third quarter report from the police department. Just to get a snippet of what we're doing here in the police department. I first want to acknowledge some of my command staff who's here today. Is going to be Assistant Chief Kelly, Assistant Chief Davis is in the back, because you'll know I can't do this by myself. Chief Petty will be here, except for he is preparing to travel because we will be receiving our accreditation certificate award in Jacksonville this week, so I'll travel out on Wednesday, so that's another acknowledgement. I also have some more command staff, Captain Noet, Captain Ramirez, Captain Downing, Lieutenant Joyce, and our amazing manager Reed, Lisa Reed, back there over 911 Center. So, Lieutenant Owen Oates. Who? I'm sorry. I said Chief Kelly. Yeah. So I'm gonna start off. There it goes. Of our report, our first year, third quarter. So how I'm going to break it down, and please, at any time, if you all have any questions, please ask. Don't interrupt. What I'm trying to do is make sure you have an understanding. Right now, what we're looking at is called UCR, our Uniform Crime Reporting. That's what law enforcement uses by FBI standards to gauge apples-to-apples comparison for what a crime is considered. In the back of your package up there, you'll have the definition. So if you ever want to refer to it, you can refer to the definition of each crime category. So from last year to this year, we have homicides, and this goes just to September. We were 23 we're 23 this year, we were 25 last year. For a little bit more detail in regards to homicide that's occurred this year, 65% of them were drug-related or robbery-related and or domestic violence-related. Going down to rapes, this is up to September. We were 84 compared to 85 of last year. Robberies, we were 216 compared to 228. Want to go back to rape. Of the rapes, the known versus unknown victims and suspects, 92% of the suspects were known to the victim. That kind of stands out in regards to this is not random rapes that are happening out there. Robberies down by 5.3%. Aggravated assault, I'm going to go to the next slide for this one because it's kind of important to understand what a true aggravated assault and how we categorize it. But also, this category as far as crimes against persons, as we review it, is very different from when we get to crimes against property. So as we talk about aggravated assaults, what is included when we have to count those numbers is not the statutory charge of aggravated assault, is the definition, and you have the definition. So that could mean someone having an object and making an attempt or having it visual. It does not have to mean that is an action applied to a victim. So we have to count misdemeanors and felonies in that category. And we also, when we calculate it, we have to count the actual victims. So as you see down below there, the suspects, known or none or unknown. There are approximately 543 suspects that perpetrated against 830 victims year to date. So you might have one suspect having multiple aggravated assault charges on that. That makes a huge difference as we talk about aggravated assaults. As you notice, the felony aggravated assaults, that's when someone is actually have a serious injury, is down from last year to this year. Now we go to crimes against property. Crimes against property are inclusive of our Part 1 burglary, larceny, motor vehicle theft. So burglary, that includes residential and non-residential. If you think about burglary, you just think of a home. That's not true. We also have to count our sheds that are in our backyard, sometimes secure or not secure. If you steal a lawnmower or if you steal any type of lawn equipment, that's considered a burglary, even if nothing gets stolen. So every attempt gets categorized in that category as well. Larcenies is items that are when you have a vehicle break-in, a shoplifting, you steal and equip items from your yard, like a decorative item, that's considered a larceny. Motor vehicle thefts, that's also considered like a moped, any motorized vehicle is considered motor vehicle theft. A lot of these larcenies are unsecured property. A car that has equipment in it or any type of item in it, if it's unlocked, somebody takes it, that's considered a larceny. So as we go to the next page. I also wanted to highlight our fatalities that's happened. You know, we're engaged with making sure that we try to decrease fatalities as far as slow down the speeders. This year we've had a number of 15 crashes compared to last year, or 14, but we've had 15 fatalities compared to 18 of last year. So we broke down so you can see a visual of how many of those were pedestrian fatalities, how many of those were motorcycle involved, military involved. Keynote for the motorcycle, we increased our education perspective to not just schools, but actually on Fort Bragg, teaching courses. From last year, we taught 6 different courses in 2016. This year, year to date, we've already taught in 15 different courses, either on Fort Bragg or in high schools. So we see that, we hope that that's account for the decrease in fatalities in motor vehicle. I wanted to highlight the difference of our firearms that have been stolen and or seized or recovered year-to-date comparison from 2016 to 2017. What I also wanted to make sure you all were familiar with is our narcotics unit. A lot of people, we don't highlight that there very often, but the difference of what's going on in society is notated in our cocaine difference last year to this year, what we've seized, compared to our heroin and our fentanyl. Fentanyl wasn't really monitored last year. We didn't have real good data for it. But as you know, it takes a very, very small amount of fentanyl to have the different overdoses that we're having in society right now. So we're starting to monitor that, and you see the increase of 3 pounds. You may think that's small, but that's an extreme amount of fentanyl compared to what's happening in the opioid issue. Our narcotics alone, the unit, when they've done search warrant, they've seized actually 37 firearms in their search warrants. So on the horizon, what we're looking at, you know, I've been working with the community, listening to the community, seeing the needs, trying to address where the issues are happening, especially violent crimes. And we're looking at how we can direct our organization, working with trying to make sure we're putting the people that we need in the right places. One notation that I've noted is we need a gang unit. We need a gang unit identifying gang issues and when it addresses violent crime. We're also looking at formulating a community affairs unit. We already started doing that, utilizing our crime prevention unit up under our public information officer and expanding the communication to the community, saying that whenever we want to increase our neighborhood watches, we want to start back up, hasn't been existing for a minute, our Citizens Police Academy. This is what educates the community about what the police department is doing. At that time period, you already know of the opioid epidemic that's in society. We are a major leader in law enforcement in dealing with the LEADS program and trying to be more proactive with dealing with overdoses. Our overdoses from last year increased. We're at about 40 overdose deaths compared to last year. We were right at about 19. So that's a serious direction of what we need to address. Talked about looking at community-based leadership training. And I also want to address our chaplaincy program because we want to create one. We always say, looking at my police department, if we are not healthy holistically, if we're not healthy, if we're not trained, if we're not making sure we're taking care of ourselves, there's no way we can take care of the community. So that's one way I want to introduce the chaplaincy program, to make sure there's connection with the police department and be able to connect with the community, or if this is disconnected, have issues going on. So that's one issue that I want to make sure I address. So I'm able to answer any questions at this time that anyone has.
Mr. Chris.
Chief, thank you so much for your report. I'm looking at your slide.
Yes, sir.
Firearms stolen and seized/recovered.
Yes.
And as I look at that, in 2016, it says you seized or recovered 406 firearms. Am I reading that right?
That is correct, sir.
But in 2017, we only seized or recovered 356. Now, the percentage of change, that's down 12.3%.
Yes, sir.
But is that a positive thing, or that means we haven't been working quite hard enough to get more weapons off the street?
No, sir. I'm not just putting all the positive things on the report. I'm giving you the facts of where we are. So the intent was not to say, hey, these are the highlight of the good. It is comparatively what we've seized and what we've recovered. We're not cooking the numbers. We're just saying this is all we've recovered so far. Not saying that there's less weapons on the street. Mm-hmm. We're making attempts at every avenue to get a weapon off the street every time we see it. So those are just the facts, sir.
And on your last slide, you spoke, and I'm looking at a chaplaincy program. How is that to work, and how do you see that as effectively helping us?
So this is what I'm helping the community, you're saying?
Yes.
So this is what I want to establish it for. Establish it for an avenue for the officers to have someone that they can reach out to. In addition, they already have employee assistance program, but having some trust network within the police department for someone they can reach out to. Holistically, an officer needs to make sure they're healthy physically, well-trained, and emotionally. So if they're healthy and they have an access to someone to talk to, that's the connect to someone. I want to make sure it's about 5 different individuals on the department so they can have someone, a resource to connect to other than their supervisor, someone that they feel like they can go out to. That way, if they have something that they have an issue with, that's one avenue. But the other thing that chaplaincy will help us do is connect to the community. One thing I want to do is have like a faith forum where the faith-based community can come to the police department and say, my congregation is having issues dealing with law enforcement in this topic, and they have an avenue to talk for real talk, biases, beliefs, issues, and it's a force multiplier when it's heard from the faith-based community.
So when we talk about the chaplaincy program, and I know that you just said to me in-house chaplain, so to speak.
Yes.
Might there be a reluctancy on the part of your officers to engage them? And here's where I'm leading with this. Might not you want to consider clergy from outside, clergy from within the community?
Yes, sir.
To assist in this faith-based program?
You're right, sir. That's
become confidants of your officers.
Yes. I apologize. I'm not looking for in-house as far as,
okay.
I'm saying I'm going to reach out to the community and ask for people to come on board, but they're going to have to actually go through the same criteria as far as a background check to be a member of the chaplaincy program for the police department, but they're already existing. They're going to have qualifications, so they're not going to be my officers or my employee. It's going to be an invitation from the outside, but they're going to have to reach criteria that say, you're able to be behind the scenes of the police department because you've gone through a background check, you've done all the criteria, you've got certification for counseling. There's going to be certain criteria, but they are going to come from the outside. So
I like that. Now, tell me a little bit more about the expanded scenario-based community leadership. Give me a little bit more on that, of how you see that as engaging the community. And
So what I want to start off with is first establishing a Citizens Police Academy. That's one avenue to get the citizens educated on what we do as a police department, but also give an invite to evolve. Once you pass the Citizens Police Academy, you have another level of volunteering for the police department, almost like a volunteer in policing, which you're almost an advocate for the police department, sharing as a citizen that you've been exposed to the Citizen Police Academy, but also now you have another insight of what we do. So as another force multiplier for, hey, do you know what the police department is doing? Here's a connect. So offering the community leadership training, also being able to, we're making a request for like training simulators. Officers get trained on training simulators, but citizens may not understand that the amount of time needed to be able to react to like use of force situations, putting them through that process gives them a realization of, oh, I never knew, like a ride-along program. Part of the Citizens Police Academy and leadership gives them the opportunity to say, I understand a little bit better about everything that we have to do, whether it be a counseling scenario when we have a 911 call.
And I have one final question.
Yes,
I want to talk about rate for a minute, because I have heard it said that there are probably as many rapes that go unreported as the ones reported.
Yes.
And a part of the problem may have been, and I had two ladies stand in front of City Hall and told me a year ago, 2 years ago, that they were raped and they never reported. And I said, well, why? And it was because if they go to court, the accused has a right to face the accuser.
Yes, sir.
And that is a real stumbling block for women who've been violated, because rape is a crime of violence.
Yes, sir.
And so what's the attitude nationally about doing something about that so that women won't be stripped of their dignity by having to go into court and relive this in front of the perpetrator? Is there any movement along these lines? Or?
Unfortunately, they're not going to change the right for someone to face their accuser by Constitution. But what we do and what we're a huge advocate for the support that we provide, the victim advocate that we supply for all victims, the avenue knowing that we're going to support them in that reporting, and even to the point of reassuring them you will not be treated, we will not victimize you again in the investigation process. One kudos I want to give this weekend, as one of our crime analysts was reviewing a possible rape that happened, was able to supply the county with information. And this victim was actually on a back page process. So although she was here traveling from out of state to do a job, she got raped, and she got violently raped. But we were able to provide information to the county, and she said, "You're right, I want to prosecute." So she is here and going to prosecute. We were able to help the county identify three suspects that have no bond right now. They have a $2 million bond and a $1 million bond, which is odd. But that situation, those individuals targeted people who were doing that as doing prostitution or doing that as an avenue for funds, and they knew that they were likely not to report. But one of our police department realizing this is a true victim, indifferent to what she's choosing to use as her means of business. So,
Thank you, Mr. Crisp.
Yes, thank you, Chief, and to your officers for the job that you do for us every day. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Colvin.
Chief, thank you for the update. Just for some clarity, I recall at one of the presentations where it said, like an incident we had this weekend at one of the nightclubs, when the perpetrator shot inside the club, the number of victims inside the club are victims, right? Is that how this is calculated?
To a certain extent, sir. So the number of victims that are probably able to be shot. For example, the incident that happened this weekend, we had 5 victims, but they were all shot. Being able to, like if it was a house, and if it's a house has 6 members inside the house, if there were 2 upstairs and the likelihood of that weapon projectile to hit the people on lower, those 2 would be categorized as aggravated assault victims if they were not hit. So, and that's a different category. So, yes, you are correct. And what I wanted to notate on the definitions that I gave you, UCR, Uniform Crime Reporting. In 2019 and 2012, the nation is changing over to National Incident Based. Let me make sure I get that right. It's called NIBRS. The acronym is NIBRS. It's on the back page. But it's going to be a better counting mechanism because it's going to give more information related to the true crime, not just the number, but the scenario based around the crime. But it's also going to increase our numbers because it's going to categorize aggravated assault as each individual that's counted. But the definition, like you're saying correctly, is how many people were probably more than likely going to be hit, but it's not the entire club. But we had a high amount, but everyone that was hit, there was 5 people hit this weekend.
So I just wanted to clarify that. So it's not really 830 people that were assaulted. It's basically based on that calculation that you just shared with us.
Not 830 people received assault, but if there was an intent to assault. So we didn't have this third quarter, we didn't have a large club scenario where there was a group of people, but we may have had a house or 2 that may have had 3 or 4 people within the house. Understood. So not a large number, but
I got you. And the other thing is, I heard you say, violent crime was a concern of a lot of people. That was one area that we didn't have a tick, so I'm glad to see some movement in the right direction. But I heard you say that we do not have a gang unit.
That's correct, sir.
And do you have the current staffing capacity for that, or is that something that you may need more resources, or I got you showing your hand too quick?
You got me showing my hand
All
too
right.
quick. But even whatever staff I have, that's going to be one of the adjustments that I'm going to pull from another resource to establish that, because it's that crucial and is that fundamental to have that data regarding gang connections. So it's going to be a must no matter where I pull that resource from.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Arp.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Chief, and for all your members of your department. Thank you for all the hard work you guys do every day. It's certainly appreciated. I did notice the heroin number has gone up significantly, 127%. You spoke to that. Is this in line with a national trend, or are we unique, maybe a little distinct in the rise here in comparison to similar metro areas?
You know, I'll be honest with you, Councilman Arp. I honestly don't know. I haven't evaluated the national trend regarding the other drugs going down compared to heroin. I have paid attention, though, to the opioid issue being a major issue in Fayetteville. So Fayetteville is higher numbers compared to other cities. Don't know if that's a result from the location, the transient community, or us capturing the data a lot more. So can't be honestly give you a good yes or no. I will look at that and give you some feedback.
And if you don't mind, Chief, when you go back and look at that, a question that I would have is, how much of our crime is related directly or indirectly to drugs and drug activity and those types of things? I think that's significant, because when I look at the number of firearms seized, we've gone up from 24 to 37. There's certainly the potential there for the use of a weapon or some type of other instrument which would lead to a homicide or an aggravated assault. So I'd be curious with that. All our officers now are trained with the use of naloxone. Is that the way you say it?
Yes, sir.
And everybody's equipped with that?
Yes, sir.
And the benefit of having that capability is, just so the public knows, when we come across someone, and just so everybody knows, this epidemic is not isolated to what you would consider standard drug users. That's a fair statement?
That's correct, sir.
So when you come across someone who has experienced an overdose, the officers, through the use of this kit, have the ability to do what?
So the officers, with the use of this kit, are able to apply it, and if they see the scenario that looks like they're in an overdose situation, they're able to apply Narcan. I'm gonna give you a comparison. We applied in 2016 35 saves, that we saved 35 lives by using the product. We applied it this year 100 times, and we have 75 saves by utilizing
75
Narcan.
saves.
So it's huge.
Very big. And just so people understand, the cost of this is relatively inexpensive.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Manager, do our first responders with the fire department have this capability?
No.
Yeah, I just would ask that we look at that, because a lot of times the police are responding because there's a law enforcement issue, but our fire responders are responding because there's a life, health issue or an emergency situation. And I don't know that we might not want to look at that, and maybe a way to.
I'll talk to the Fire Chief Major and see if there's to try to get more supplies for him, because we have the connect to be able to get the Narcan right now, because they know how much we use it. So I'll talk to him about that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mr. McDougal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good to see you, Chief.
Hello, sir.
I don't know what to say this to you or to the whole council, really, but chaplaincy is a specialized theological discipline. Most pastors, most church people that are ministers of the gospel are ill-equipped to be chaplains. So I would urge you not to go and start pulling folk from these churches, because they don't know. They are going to try to convince people that what they believe, faith, is correct.
That's not the route, sir.
That's right.
They're going to have some certification, some training.
Good.
Yes, sir.
It's a specialized discipline.
Yes, sir, it
and
is.
Not everybody can do that work.
That is correct.
So be very, very careful.
Thank you, sir.
I am concerned about church security, and I know that the department offered some training in the past when we've had some other incidents. And
Yes.
it may be a good time to renew that for some of us to make sure. Most of us think we're doing something, but
That's the plan for my First Faith Forum, is because especially what happened over a week ago is to gear it towards a topic. The first topic is going to be church security, to do the invite and then share anything that they want to share at that time.
thank you very much. And lastly, I want to thank all of the members of your department, starting with you all the way through,
Thank you, sir.
for the good job that you've done and how safe you make us feel as a city.
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you, Mr. McDougall. Well said. Councilmember Wright.
Yes, Chief, thank you for the review of the numbers. Like we're headed in a good direction. But I have a question for you just off a little bit. My question would be, what is your view of a citizens review board? And do you think that would be a positive in this community, or a pro or a con?
So, you asked for my opinion, correct?
Yes.
My opinion is that I think the citizens review me are open to review the police department at any time by just merely asking a question. I think that we're transparent enough that there's nothing that we hide, just like I shared the RCs. The numbers are the numbers. We're not going to hide it. We're going to always work to get better and improve. So a citizen review board, if they are given direction, once they truly understand what the police department is responsible for doing, I'm open to it. But I feel, my opinion, that the citizens review us every day.
Good. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thanks, Chief Hawkins.
Thank you, sir. Oh, it's out. Good.
Council, item 8.0 is a public hearing. Public forum. These public forums is a time that Fayetteville residents may have for input and a voice of what goes on in the city of Fayetteville. Due to policy restrictions, the forum will last no longer than 30 minutes total. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes to address the city council on issues related to the city of Fayetteville. Individuals wishing to speak at tonight's public forum should have signed up with the city clerk prior to the start of tonight's meeting. If you're here for an item that may be later in the agenda under public hearings, we ask that you reserve your comments to that time. So when you hear your name called by the city clerk, we ask that you come to the podium and clearly state your name and home address for the record. Then when you see the lights located on the podium change from green to yellow, you have 30 seconds left to speak. When you see the red light come on, your time has expired, and again, due to policy restrictions, we are unable to extend your time. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we have 8 speakers signed up for this evening. Our first speaker is Mr. Tom Clark.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Council. My name is Tom Clark. I live at 4643 Goldsboro Road, Wade, North Carolina. And once again, I'm here tonight to speak about the ACP, Atlantic Coast Pipeline, because it will affect Fayetteville. So I feel like that's something that I'm just asking the Council to just keep your thumb on the pulse of that project and make sure that you understand and get all the information, not just from one side, because there's a lot of stuff that comes out that's not really the complete truth. Just like a couple items I'm going to talk about tonight is they talk about how it's just going to be the frack gas that's coming from West Virginia through this pipeline is going to be for our country, our state. It's supposed to help our state. Well, in an article in the West Virginia paper, China has just entered an agreement with the state of West Virginia for $83.7 billion to over the next 20 years to for underground storage of natural gas, chemical manufacturing, power generation, and major shale projects. So that would make one wonder if the Atlantic Coast Pipeline's talking about extending in the United States, or it's for North Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia, why would China be putting that much money into something they're not going to gain from? So I'm here tonight to ask the council, along with the county government, to just keep your eyes on what's happening and not just believe everything that one side tells you. Investigate it. And another thing, they talk, a lot of your governments, I hate to say our local government, they like to preach about jobs. Well, the Atlantic Coast Pipeline have you convinced that we're going to have jobs from this thing? Well, to have jobs, they talk about it bringing gas to our communities. Well, there's this tap policy that the Atlantic Coast Pipeline has. They say they don't have a tap policy, but if a community or a city is in the market to tap onto this policy, a tap would cost anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million just to tap on. That's not going to guarantee that there's going to be communities or jobs brought in. So all I'm asking tonight is that you just listen to everything, not just one side. Get all the facts. And Councilman Art, I only wished I had your voice. Thank you, guys.
Our next speaker is Miss Renee Cassie. Miss Renee Cassie. Next speaker is Mr. J. Campbell. Mr. J. Campbell. Next speaker, Miss Angelina Allen. Miss Angelina Allen. Next speaker, Miss Carol Knight. Miss Carol Knight. Mr. William Logan.
Welcome, sir.
Hello. How's everybody doing today? I think I sat down too long. Okay. Let me at it. Let him have that. First, I wanted to just go ahead and congratulate the new mayor-to-be. Mayor, congratulations. You remember I congratulated you the day of the election, and I was a little early then, but I see you made it okay. Congratulations. And everybody else that's re-elected, congratulations as well. Your Honor, my name is Master Bill Logan. I've been teaching martial arts for Fayetteville Rec Centers for the past 15 years. I have been teaching at E.E. Miller Rec Center for the past, ever since the doors opened. I've got to teach at E.E. Miller because of a wonderful opportunity I was given to also teach out in the country at Eastover. Well, this was the agreement I was under. It was you teach at Eastover, who doesn't have anybody out there teaching, and we'll let you have E.E. Miller, which is where I wanted to teach anyway, because that's where my daughter was at for her elementary school. Anyway, I went ahead and I've been holding up my end of the bargain. However, recently we've had a new manager that's there that has adopted a idea that the amount of time that I've taught there, 1 hour and 1 hour and a half, is too much. I need to cut off the half an hour and allow a jazzercise program, a Zumba class to come in. And I said, well, that's not fair. I need at least some kind of alternative. Where can I go from there? I mean, move my class out of where we are to another room or something, but don't just cut us off. These kids are really good kids. This is just a sample of them. They're great competitors. They're good, honest kids. They're learning discipline, and to just be pushed out to the deep blue without any kind of opportunity for them to see the system to work for them is just not fair. I know that the jazzercise program could start at 7:30. I start a class out at Eastover at 7:30. I'm just not sure why it's so important for them to take my time and then move us out. Well, since I had my parents to speak to you all on the Fix It Faye Fix It, the management has said, well, for that, you're talking to people, we're going to go ahead and put you in a little smaller room forever from now on. And that was just a little bit much there, sir. I thought that was a little bit of a, if I was under the whistleblowers treatment, that would have been wrong. And thank you for your time, and just ask that you take a look at what's going on out there. Also, sir, the advertisement has been canceled for all of the previous instructors at these rec centers. Only the new jazzercise can be advertised in the activities guide, and that's not right either.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, our final speaker is Mr. Charles Matthews.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. I'm Charles Matthews of 3618 Tyndall Court. I would like to thank the City of Fayetteville for its great outreach to all of us veterans. They did a wonderful job, and I appreciate it. I request a meeting this month with the following: PWC Manager, District 3 Representative, Mayor Pro Tem Mitch Colvin, Councilman Crisp, Stormwater Protection Rep, and also others are welcome to come if they have something to share reference the flooding of Big Cross Creek, the corrective action that could and should be taken. I also request the city manager arrange this meeting. I would also like to thank and congratulate Councilman Kirk DeVere for having the excuse me, for having the integrity to give Mike Larry's campaign funds back. Some kept the funds. This was a conflict of interest. Thank you.
May we have no further speakers?
Thank you. We'll call the public forum closed and move into the public hearings. Item 9.01 is the rezoning of property at 3219 Cliffdale Road. It's the intersection of Cliffdale and McPherson Church Roads. Mr. Craig Harmon.
Evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. As you stated, this is a rezoning request for the intersection of Cliffdale and McPherson Church Road. Currently, the property is zoned SF10. The request is to go to an ONI conditional zoning district or office and institutional. Just to give you an idea of where the property is located here in the northwest or northeast corner of McPherson and Cliffdale Roads. These properties have sat vacant ever since all of these properties were developed back in the late 60s, early 70s mainly. Currently, they are undeveloped properties. We do have mainly low-density residential around them. The property here to the south is part of a church property. This property on the corner here, although it has a house, it is a commercial property, and then all commercial subdivision here on Glenberry Court. Our land use plan from 2010 does show this area is low-density residential. And as part of the conditional zoning request, this is the site plan that's been submitted by the applicant and potential owner. You see one entranceway into the property from McPherson Church Road. There's not enough property over here on the Cliffdale side for DOT to allow another access on that side. You'll also note the buffering that is required around the property to separate it from the existing single-family residential there as well. The owners, or potential owner, has has put forward 3 sets of conditions. One, again, is this site plan. The other is hours of operation, which would be Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays, and that they would maintain the character of their neighborhood there. And I believe that the applicant's attorney may have some renderings of what the building may look like that they're looking to build there when he comes up to speak. This is just giving you some views along McPherson Church Road here. This is the property here to the left, intersection of McPherson and Cliffdale in front of you. Just over here in the intersection through the trees is the existing business at that corner. The opposite corner is a single-family subdivision. And then this is looking on the other side of McPherson Church, back in the opposite direction again. The wooded area here in the intersection is the property in question. The Zoning Commission and staff have recommended approval of this rezoning. That's based on UDO calls for O&I districts to be used as a buffer or transitional area abutting residential uses. That attached site plan with the buffering that we showed you a moment ago and the conditions listed above. Are there any questions of staff before we open your public hearing?
I don't see any lights. Thank you, Mr. Harmon. Ladies and gentlemen, individuals wishing to speak during tonight's public hearing should have signed up with the city clerk by name and address before 7 p.m. this evening. 15 minutes will be allowed from each side of the issue of the public hearing. Individuals wishing to speak will be limited to 3 minutes each unless previously arranged that a single spokesman be designated, in which the single spokesman may use the entire 15 minutes. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium, clearly state your name and address for the record, and you will be instructed at that point to address city council. When the light changes from green to amber, you have 30 seconds left to speak. When the light turns red, your time has expired. So, old dilly-dilly, Madam Clerk, call the first speaker, please.
Mayor, we have 3 speakers in favour. Our first speaker is Mr. Thomas Neville.
Good evening. My name is Thomas Neville. I'm an attorney for the applicant. My office is located at 115 East Russell Street. And Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, councilmen and women, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak for you tonight. The good news is I'm not the only speaker, so my time is limited to 3 minutes, so I'm sure you'll appreciate that. If I could, I represent both the owner and the prospective owner of this property, and it is our intent or our desire to put a medical or pediatrics office at this location. And I'm particularly happy to be before you tonight because, in all honesty, many times I come before boards and I'm not always the advocate for what I think is the best fit. But in this instance, I do think we have a very good fit. And I say that for two reasons primarily. Number one, I always go out to the site and take a look at basically the surrounding area. And then I look at, basically what are we planning on doing? What is the site plan? And I would encourage you to look at those two factors more than anything this evening. What is the surrounding area? What is the site plan? And how do they mesh? And who benefits? As far as the surrounding area goes, it's a very familiar area to probably everyone here. But when that happens, it's easy to kind of not look at it very intently or to focus on what's really there. And if you do that, what you'll notice is very much a mixed use. And I have to take my reading glasses to see my notes, but if I'm looking at my sketch correctly here, obviously this is at an intersection. If we look to the west, not immediately across from the property, but just right down the street, you'll see a church, which I believe is Church of the Open Door. Coming towards the property, right beside that is a fire station number 6. Then you do have a few houses. The houses are catty-corner for the most part at the intersection. They don't really face us. The backyard's facing the intersection. Directly across from the property is a salon. To what would be the south of the property is a ball field, then the McPherson Presbyterian Church. Then to the east would eventually, or within a block or so, would be the Academy. And then obviously to the north is Westwood Shopping Center. So my point here is, although this may be a residential area as an SF10, I've got to talk very quickly, you really have very much a mixed use. And I would also encourage you then to look at the site plan and look at all the work that's going into the site plan to ensure that this is a very good fit for the community. Look at the buffering, look at the actual design itself. And for these reasons, I believe that this is a very good proposal of a buffer type areas professional use to residential and the traffic that occurs on McPherson. So thank you for your time. I do have the elevations, Mr. Harmon, if you want to pass these out.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And if I may, these are not, there are not building plans, so these are proposed renderings of what most likely would be built. These are not building plans.
Our next speaker is Miss Laurie Epler.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Lori Epler. I'm with Larry King and Associates. Our address is 1333 Morganton Road, Fayetteville. Thank you for allowing us to come tonight. Dr. Essensoy, who will own and operate this center, has been in practice in Fayetteville for 21 years. He's been in private practice for 12 years. He currently owns 4 locations, one on Robinson Street, one in Hoke County, one in Dunn, and another one in Hope Mills. This location has not been developed to date, and as Mr. Harmon said, these lots were recorded back 40 or 50 years ago as residential lots and part of the subdivision that's there going down Cliffdale and McPherson Church Road. But no one has built houses on these residential lots in that 40 or 50 years. So obviously, we can determine from that no one wants to live on that corner of Cliffdale and McPherson Church Road. That property owner would like to exercise her right to make the best use of that property, or her family would. And it's Rainbow Pediatric will be a good fit, not only for the patients, but for the community. Obviously, an O&I use we do it every day in our zoning consideration. It's a good transitional use between single-family residential and commercial property. And as much traffic as goes down McPherson Church Road every day, that's not a residential street. It's quickly becoming commercial. with his hours of operation, the buffer, we've made as many concessions on this property as we can to make sure that it is just that, a transition for that single-family housing that backs up to it. And the only single-family housing that backs up to it is behind it and on one side of it. Another thing, one of the things that the UDO recommends that we do whenever we try to put together a site plan for a non-residential use on a piece of property, they like to see us pull that building up as close as we can to the street. Whenever someone rides down McPherson Church Road, they don't need to look out at a sea of asphalt, a parking lot, and then a building sitting on the back end of it. That's what our new planning generation believes. In this case, we were able to do that. Most of his parking is in the rear of the building. Some of it is on the side. We've managed to meet the buffer requirements. And as we said, those elevation views of his proposed building, we feel those are going to be a complement to the few residential structures that are close by it. Dr. Essensoy is here tonight. After Thomas and I have talked, he really says he doesn't have anything to add. He did sign up to speak, so if you have any questions for him, he'll be more than happy to answer those. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. F. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we just have Mr. Essenroy, Dr. Essenroy signed up.
Okay. He's signed up. Come on forward. Unless you want to waive your time, sir.
If you have any specific questions, I will answer. I'm Dr. Essensoy, 1327 Robinson Street, my business located. My main office is on Robinson Street. It's a very busy office. We just wanted to open this office in Fayetteville, just kind of make the other office much less busy. And it's going to be not more than 2 doctors in that office, and the traffic is not going to be as busy as in my Robinson Street office.
Okay, thank you. Council, I don't see any questions. Mr. Arp? Thank you, Doctor.
Mr. Harmon, I do have a question before, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Harmon, I think a concern that I had expressed to staff was the zoning of this roadway between McPherson Church, the intersection of McPherson Church and Cliffdale, and all the way back to the Westwood Shopping Center area. And I'd asked that the staff come back with a zoning plan for how this area will develop, and when can we expect that?
That would be part of that overall plan that we're putting together presently for the whole city with the comprehensive plan that's being updated right now. I'm not sure where that falls on council's priority list as far as that strip through there, so that's what we would have to factor in.
Yeah, I think, if I may, council, I think a concern that I have is, you know, we're trying to eat a whole elephant at one sitting, and that's a very hard task. We've got some right-of-ways in our city along strategic roadways, and this is one that I think we need to define the zoning for those areas, because they are going to develop. And as I think we've had this conversation, as we look at certain roads and gateways in the city, we know they're going to develop very rapidly. And so while we're waiting for this all-encompassing plan to be developed, we have to address issues like this one tonight. And I think we need to have a plan in place for how we're going to move forward to protect our neighborhoods, and also to have that pocket of commerce and greenway, capability throughout the city. But with that said, Mr. Mayor and Council, I would move that the Council approve this zoning as requested, as is consistent with the current UDO, and that we rezone it to O&I and CZ, and that it be restricted to the conditions as stated, and those are approval of the rezoning with the additional items, and that show that they've complied with those, and that is the additional zoning of the buffer areas, the buffer transitional areas, as identified by the staff.
That's, restate that. All right. so
Yeah, I'm
that's the
just
mo-
trying to make sure that everybody understands.
We
I
got it.
want the conditions that have been identified by the staff to be a part of this rezoning.
Okay, that's motion, Councilmember Arp, seconded by Mr. Hurst. Mr. Moon, question?
Yes, question for Mr. Harmon. In the agenda packet, it mentions that NCDOT will only allow a right-in and a right-out on South McPherson Church Road.
That will be the eventual plan for that area.
So the site plan that I'm currently looking at, that entrance there would probably need something like a little mini Texas T or something, so people couldn't come down the opposite side of South McPherson and take a left into there. And that would be incorporated in the final
Yes.
TRC review approval and all?
Right, as this says in the report, there are still things to be worked out during the TRC review process, and that would be one of those type things.
Right, okay, thank you.
Mr. Harmon, if you would entertain another question for me, and I want to go back to maybe zoning 101 here. I'm looking at all three of your maps and land use plan maps, and all I see is residential everywhere. So tell me why this isn't spot zoning?
Because our UDO calls for these O&I districts to be used as transitional areas.
But if you're putting it right in the middle, is it transition?
It is when you're looking, what you also have to look at is the overall here of, that you have, you've already got some institutional uses here to the south. You've already got a business use here.
Not within 3/4 of an, I guess 3/4 of an acre? Is that what the measurement, the outer perimeter of that ring is? What is that? It's more
That's
than an acre.
500 feet out. That's our notification area.
Right, that circle there. So there's nothing else in that circle other than residential.
That shows up on our current land use plan, but there is, like I said, down here to the bottom is an institutional use. There is.
Speaking of the church.
The church.
And what's surrounding the church on four sides?
And the church does have, other than I guess the school probably comes up to it a little bit, but for the most part, it's residential around that. You do have a building over here that is used commercially
What's it
as
zoned?
well. It is still zoned residential, but it is a commercial use.
So does code enforcement aware of the potential violation?
There's not a potential violation at that. It is a legal non-conforming use there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So legal non-conforming use. But what's the zoning?
It is residential.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Harmon. I am going to vote against this, and just on the principle, Dr. Essensoy, I very much appreciate your investment in the community, very much, but I cannot support this. Anyone else, council? Mr. Crisp.
I'm looking at this thing. Mr. Harmon, tell me again how this is not spot zoning. You said the UDO. Go ahead.
Yes. What you have to do is not only look at our current land use plan, but also all of our other.
And the current land use plan is residential, correct?
It is.
Okay, go ahead.
But as you know, that is a document that we're in the process of trying to update. This is a very similar situation to what we had with the new group going in over at trying to remember the name of them, transitional housing that we had for veterans. The old Jubilee House, thank you. That's what I was struggling for there. Very similar to that. This is you can look at it as a community need. You can also look at it through the UDO, that the UDO is considered by state law to be one of our plans. And so when it said, we can use that as well to say this is a transitional area through that as well.
And what's the definition? What's the UDO definition of spot zoning? Do you recall offhand?
Ms. McDonald, can you help out with spot zoning?
The definition relates to when there is a different use or a use that is not consistent with the surrounding uses, but the determination is a number of factors, and it's not just a different change in zoning, but it's also the uses. And as Mr. Harmon said, that O&I is considered a transitional use. And so, again, it's on a case-by-case basis and whether it would be challenged in court. And because of the other uses, particularly the one across the street and the ones that are close by, although as the mayor did point out, it's not exactly within the 500 feet circle, it is slightly outside, it is a likelihood that it still would be upheld as acceptable because it is a transitional use for the area. But again, it is on a case-by-case basis, and it just depends on being subject to challenge. But given what has been presented tonight, I don't believe, if challenged, that it would be upheld.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Jensen.
I'm sorry, I have a few questions. So the business across the street, it is zoned residential.
Correct.
What type of business is that?
It's a hairdresser.
It's a hairdresser. Okay, so then I've got, the other question that I have is for Dr. Essensoy. What was the business that what was the practice that you started out in?
Can you come up to the microphone just so it's recorded?
When you came to Fayetteville, where was the business that the practice that you started out in?
First,
Yes.
Purdue Drive.
Okay, there was one after that. It was in a house, wasn't it?
I'm on Robinson Street, and then I started also, I have one in Hope Mills in the residential area.
Okay.
But
one
I
I'm-
was in Morganton Road with Fayetteville Children's Clinic.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yes.
And that was a house,
Yes.
was it not?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, I practiced there for 8 years.
right. And it was a house that he practiced out of.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask the question to Mr. Harmon, was that practice that he had in the house, was that zoned residential?
On Morganton Road, Fayetteville Children's Clinic. It was residential, I mean, at that time.
I'm just
I
asking
don't
the
know.
question.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't know that location.
Okay, so my question is that we have a hairdresser across the street that is a business and it's residential. So the children's clinic was a house that was a very thriving practice that they just had to keep on adding and adding on to get in. And we don't know if it was zoned residential. So I'm just out of the box here thinking, if he builds 2 houses on there, it's just not making sense to me. So then my next question is, has anybody spoken to the neighbors? Because I'm not seeing any neighbors around here to speak.
We sent the yellow outline that you see on the map is the area that we sent the notices out to. Plus, there was a notice put on the property itself and, of course, what was printed in the newspaper. We only got 2 phone calls about this particular rezoning. No one came to the zoning commission meeting, and as you can see tonight, no one came to this meeting as well. And they were both advertised, sent letters to all the owners within that 500 feet for both meetings.
Okay, so has, Dr. Essensoy, have you spoken to any of the neighbors personally or no, or?
I mean, next door neighbors, I haven't spoken with him, but he's Miss there's MacArthur's sons.
Yeah, one.
Okay.
I haven't spoken.
Does Mr. Neville want to?
Mr. Noble, come on
Would you
up.
like to come up?
It's my understanding that the house, the lot directly to the north, is actually owned by the current owner's son. The house that is to the east, that neighbor, I am told that neighbor very much supports this development and is in favor of it. And so there's no one else has called the office other than those people that I'm aware of support it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Colvin.
Thank you. So, Mr. Harmon, this will be for you. I know you have some council members, the mayor in particular, may be concerned with the consistency of the residential zoning. The plan that we're working at, this is one of the more busier intersections in the city, right? McPherson Church
It
and
is.
Cliffdale.
It is.
And McPherson Church is what, 5 to 6 lanes across?
Yeah, and as was mentioned in the presentation earlier by the applicants' representatives, you know, this has been vacant property, vacant residential since the 60s, basically.
So intersection is big with this many traffic. Is that consistent with a residential neighborhood usually?
You know, it can be, but it's also
tough.
consistent with this type of use as well.
Right. And the zoning commission, I say, was unanimous on this, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then I was looking at the 2030 Growth Vision Plan, which highlighted the 2 policies. 1, 2.9, new development and infill development shall be especially encouraged in locations where a full range of urban services and infrastructure exists. Schools, fire station, water, sewer, etc. are already in place, and where the public will not incur the full cost of the building for this facility. So it meets that requirement, right?
Correct.
And then 3.1 is the other part of that, recognizing that infrastructure has a powerful influence on growth and development, which it sounds like it would. The availability of infrastructure, along with other factors, should determine where development would occur in that region. And the intensity shall be matched generally with the availability of infrastructure. So it met all of those 3 criteria.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. McDougall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Normally, an item like this, and, you know, as a matter of fact, this particular item was on our consent agenda a few weeks ago. And I think, Jim, you expressed a concern that you wanted to know how the neighbors felt about it. It had passed the zoning board unanimous, and it had passed to the staff, all agreed, so that's how it wound up on our consent agenda. Now, tonight, we're here in a public forum, public hearing, and nobody's complaining. So I don't know why we're kicking all this other dust. You know, every neighborhood is in some sort of transition one way or another. And if you drive along, I travel that way quite a bit, especially coming here. That area is in transition. The residential homes there are, some of them are beginning to be dilapidated, not being cared for, as most of our neighborhoods are, especially as older residents hopefully go to some place of paradise or heaven or someplace, but anyway, aspire. And so that area is in transition. And but the key thing, I believe, was that we wanted to know if there were concern from neighbors. We don't see that. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Art?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And that, thank you, Mr. McDougall, for highlighting that, because that was exactly my concern, is I wanted to make sure that the residents of the adjacent neighborhoods had the opportunity, if they weren't informed with the initial notification of the zoning, potential change, that through the public hearing notice, they would be notified and that they would have the opportunity to come and speak publicly. This is my district. I drive that way every day. And I can tell you that there's a lot of things that I would like to see differently. That's why, Mr. Harmon, I'm going to keep hammering you guys over getting a plan together. And we can't wait, Mr. Manager, to eat the elephant all at one time. We need to pick some key areas and start working on it. But this is one of those. This is a transition area. It's already in transition. And as you drive on closer up to Westwood Shopping Center, you can see some of those properties are not necessarily in good repair. And I would challenge you, it's only a matter of time before those folks are going to come in and ask for the same thing. So either we have a plan and we're able to react to our plan, or we have to legally operate under the zoning that applies to that land. These people are property owners and taxpayers, and they deserve the right to do what they want to do with their property, just like you deserve the right to do what you want to do legally with your property. So, Mr. Mayor, with that, I stand by my motion, and I call for the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arp. This is the Arp-Hurst motion. Seeing no further questions, I'll ask for your vote, please.
Mr. Mayor, could I ask for the motion to be restated?
Thank you, Mr. McDougall. I would move that we approve the zoning as presented by the staff tonight to ONICZ with conditions that they presented in our packet.
Thanks, sir.
And with that, council, I'll ask for your vote. Madam Clerk, that's 9-1 with Robertson voting against. Item 9.02 is rezoning of property at the 1500 Spotted Horse Lane near the intersection of Spotted Horse and Rayford Roads. Mr. Harmon.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Yes, this property is currently zoned SF15. The request of the applicant is to go to an SF10. Property, as you said, is located at 1500 Spotted Horse Lane, which does go out to Rayford Road, and it's approximately 49.5 acres. This is one map of the property in question. As you can see from the zoning here, there are a mix of SF10 both to the east and west, MR5 to the south, and then some more SF15 to the north. This land use plan does call for low-density residential. Both the SF15 and SF10 districts are considered that. We did have some questions about the connectivity of this particular subdivision. There are two entrance ways that will be provided. Both do go through either other subdivisions or other phases of this same subdivision, but they do take you out to two different major thoroughfares, or major and minor thoroughfares, Hoke Loop Road and Cliffdale Road. There was a potential at one point of a third point of access, but there is a barrier property in between the existing road and this subdivision where it is the previous subdivision did not stub all the way to this property, so there's a piece of property in between this and the stub out that is not owned by the applicant in this case. And now, while this is subject to change, this is the development that has been presented to our our technical review committee for a preliminary review. And it was during that preliminary review that it was found that there was a discrepancy in the number of lots that were being asked for. There are two different calculations in the UDO of how to determine how many lots can be built in a residential district. because of the way those are laid out, one of those would allow for 144 lots, where the other one would allow for 158. The developer calculated off of 158 number, which he has 156 lots here. The ordinance also, however, says that when there's a conflict in the ordinance, that the smaller of the two, basically, the less intense is what you go with. And so that's why we have gotten to this point today with the rezoning. As you said, as the comments have been made before this was set for a public hearing last time, under those calculations, under the SF-10, it shows that you could have quite a bit more potential development on the property, up to 216 lots. But I think that the engineer for this project is going to speak to the fact of how what they've got here is basically about as much as they can get out of this property, given the restraints of SF-10 zoning. The Zoning Commission and staff have recommended approval of the SF-10 based on the land use plan does call for low density residential. 3 sides of this are either SF-10 or a higher density residential, and the property in question is accessed through other SF-10 subdivisions. Any questions of staff before you open your public hearing?
Mr. Moe.
Thank you. This one, Mr. Harmon, could you go back to the connectivity graphic? And during the last couple weeks, I've been, fielding some questions from the citizens in West Point neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And on your graphic, on the far right, that elongated neighborhood, where the green exit route on Loxley Drive.
Right
Yeah,
here.
so West Point starts all the way above the property, all the way to the east. And what their concerns were, and I need to ask a question on this. When West Point was first made, in the upper part and a little bit to the west of the original West Point, you had about 200 cars, 200 properties that would exit on the green route, Loxley Drive. And then the bottom of the oblong area, probably about 2/3 of the way down, about 160 homes would typically, exit there on Rivendale Drive.
Right,
And
down here.
neither one has a stop light when they widened Cliffdale Road. So one of their questions was, where the red line comes out of the subject property, and you see the area platted but no homes, that's almost, or a little bit to your left, to your left, a little bit north?
Oh,
Yeah.
here, yes.
That's currently being built out, almost done right now, probably
Correct.
80 more homes. They all go north and exit on the Loxley. So now you've got about 280 homes using Loxley. That gets all backed up right at Cliffdale. And election day, someone said, hey, if they keep adding, how do we get a stoplight? Or who pays for the stoplight on Loxley? Because it's a nightmare right now with 280 roughly homes using that. So that was a question. What would be the procedure, or was there a traffic impact analysis? And these are questions citizens ask me.
Right. And that's how that would be determined, would be through a traffic impact analysis.
Would that be something the city would do based on the development we approve or disapprove?
Yes, that would be, the city or DOT in this case, since Cliffdale is a DOT maintained street. If this gets approved for the rezoning and the developers move forward through the TRC process, there's certain calculations that our traffic services have. If they meet those calculations, then they'll have to do a traffic impact study. And if that traffic impact study says you've got to put a stoplight, then that'll be up to the developer to work out.
Okay, and another question, the current access to the property's been there over 100 years, used to be called the Farm Road, Spotted Horse Lane, and I understand it cuts through a different person's property. It's the white line coming from the bottom, Spotted
it's
Horse.
this one running through.
And so, there's gotta be some easement that's been recorded, for 100-plus years. And a question came up, just off of our graphic, you have Fire Station 11. And the fastest time would be Old Rayford Road to Rayford Road, straight up Spotted Horse Lane, which is the current access to the property for the fire department. And that distance came out to be 1.3 miles, to get from the fire department to the edge of the property. And by going to the green route, you add about just over a half a mile fire department response time. Is that considered when looking at approving access entrance points into new developments?
It is looked at, and again, as you even kind of alluded to, Spotted Horse is just a private drive, basically.
It is.
I'm not even sure if the fire department would access, they would have to get up to the house that's existing there now, but that would be very iffy. That's a long ways for them to go on a small private road.
I mean, but right now, if the house was on fire, they'd get their brush truck or something up there.
Exactly.
Right, okay. And then there was another question that came up. On the left side of the property, where you have a second and third phase being developed,
Yes.
which road would open first? Loxley, or how long before that second road to Hoke Loop Road? Are we talking 1 to 3 to 5 years, or are these
That might be,
200?
that would probably be a better question for the engineer for this project, because he's gonna know, at what point, even though the phasing says this is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, sometimes they don't go in order. So, Mr. Kaiser might be better to make a point on which of those entrances would be open first.
Right. Again, West Point, they got a pretty active community watch group, and they, of course, with the 80 new homes being built right now, Heathcliff at West Point, and now this, they're like, what's going to happen to Loxley? When are we going to get our stoplight? So it's coming.
Yeah.
Mr. McDougall?
Ms. Harmer, if you can back up one slide, I believe. Maybe one more.
Maybe another.
I saw what looked like a stream, and I was concerned about stormwater. If you go back another slide, I saw it somewhere. I didn't, right there. There you go.
So right over here, and that's another reason that, another prohibiting factor for connecting these two streets. There is a wetland area.
Yeah, and there are probably other smaller contributaries that lead into this one. I know at the bottom of that hill off of Hope Loop, there is a fairly large pipe running through there at the county line. And my question is, because a lot of times what happens with some of these stormwater issues, we've allowed them to do some extra development, really almost in the bed of one of these little small streams.
Well, if you look here in the very corner, the bottom corner of this property, there'll be a detention pond.
Okay.
And as with anything built today in the city, the stormwater regulations require that the runoff from that point is the same as the runoff is before anything's built on the property.
So you've got it handled?
Yes.
That's all I need to know.
Yep. Any other questions, Mr. Mayor?
I don't see any further lights. Madam Clerk?
May we have 3 people signed up for the public hearing? Our first speaker is Natalie Schultz. Miss Natalie Schultz. Appears she's not here. Mr. Jimmy Kaiser.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Jimmy Kaiser, 115 Broadfoot Avenue. Really, we were hoping we wouldn't have to do this on this piece of property. As Craig mentioned, if we look at the UDO under the use tables, single-family residential, SF15 and SF10, and SF6 in this case would all be hit by this. What we have in here is the number of lots per acre that we can get. Easy to see, 3.2 per acre for 0 lot line, SF15. That gives us our 158. But then, in the back of the UDO, there's another section. It says gross residential density calculations. It conflicts with what we have in the tables. So every time we have a piece of property like this one that's relatively straightforward, we don't have a lot of wetlands and stuff, we can max out the density. But I really can't max out the density because there's a conflict in the UDO. So when we first did the layout, we didn't think we had to do any rezoning. When we came to TRC said, oh, wait a minute, there's a problem because there's a conflict in the UDO. And they suggested that we do the rezoning. So we thought we were fine with what we had. So it's the difference, as Craig mentioned, 144 to 158. That's all we're talking about with this difference. And going back to your question, Mr. Moon, the fire department is the one that's pushing multiple entrances for this project. Right now, we have Pond Haven Drive, which is section 2.2 of the Highcroft development. That's paved. We're waiting right now to get the clearance from the city to record that. So that exit is there. You can go out there to it now, and it goes right up to the property. And that's really going to be the primary entrance for this first part of this project. It's going to be 3 phases. And we'll be working back over towards the west point, going that way. The Stackhouse Drive, which ties in, that's a secondary access. And we don't have to have that. We could do a gated entrance with a Knox box, but from the connectivity standpoint, it makes sense to have it ultimately, to have, as many entrances as we can. Where Spotted Horse comes in, there's actually a gap between the Heathcliff subdivision and this property. So there's no right-of-way recorded up to that point. So that private road takes off from there, so we can't connect to it. So that's why that's not being used. Stormwater, as mentioned, we have a pond plan. We've got almost 3.5 acres of land planned for storm drainage. This site's relatively flat, so it'll ultimately get there. Pre and post requirements meet all city standards, like we do with projects. Let's see. I had a few more comments, but it really goes back, what we had, what we thought we had, density-wise, and what we can get were 2 different animals just because of a conflict in the UDO. And if you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. Ralph Huff.
Ralph Huff, 606 Forest Lake Road. Good gosh. I've always understood that when you've got residential, when you've got development all around on 3 sides, 4 sides, and you got a donut hole in the middle, it's good to go ahead and develop it. And we have been working on Highcroft from Hoke Loop Road back to this point for about 3 years. As Jimmy said, the road's already paved right up to the property line, and this is gonna be Highcroft. This is not gonna be West Point. And we'll be happy to put up a knockdown gate if that's the wishes of the council. This is flat property. The owners of the land that Spotted Horse Lane goes across can find no easement. But I've done business with the owners of this property, and I've told them all along that once we get this property, the Spotted Horse will go away. So that cleans up something that would ultimately be a conflict whenever the owners of the property to the south decided they wanted to develop. That's all I had. Thank you. And I do want to go off subject 1 second to thank every one of you. You've been one of the best councils we've ever had. And as I said to the lady from the newspaper when she called, the sad thing about this mayoral race is that we're losing 2 really good people from this board. And I thank you all for your service.
No, we have no further speakers.
We will close this public hearing. Any questions for staff? Mr. Harmon, I've got a question as it relates to Spotted Horse. Is there any opportunity for the city to open Spotted Horse for an extra access that would be a lot more direct and not traveling through a neighborhood?
Not at this point. As Mr. Huff mentioned, even the owners of that property down there haven't been able to find an actual easement on there. So it's what probably legally would be classified as a cartway or something, which is just something that's been used as access for so many years that it has its own legal status.
Okay, Ms. Jensen? We're all having flashbacks, I'll be honest with you. We're having flashbacks of Kings Grant and the flooding and the people trapped. And Rayconda is another one.
And that is one of the things that was built into the UDO with that connectivity standard. It's giving them that second access that, as you know, when Matthew hit, how many communities here in Fayetteville were one access communities and still are.
And we just want to make sure that we learn from the mistakes that we had made earlier. We as a body. I don't make mistakes personally. Ms. Jensen.
I want to go back to what the mayor has said about flashbacks of, what happened at Liberty Hill when it was built. And if we could just find, if there would have been an access out,
oh yeah,
there would have been no problems. And we're sitting here having the same thing where we could have fixed it when Liberty Hill was, addressed the problem and fixed it instead of having to go back, because we're still going to have to go back and get another entrance. So I don't think that this is dead. I just think that we need to figure it out. It's not a yes or no, but we're all struggling because it is the exact same thing. And I will go back to, these houses are just going through a neighborhood, and the roads in the neighborhood are not going to be able to handle it. And we saw that during Matthew when we had to go out the back exit.
Again, the good thing here is that there are 2 exit ways, and both of those exit ways do take you to major roads.
There are 2 exits that are going through a long row of development neighborhoods. Like I said, I don't think the project is dead. I think we need to have a conversation of how to get people out of it. We can't just say no. There's something we can do to fix this.
Mr. McDougall.
My comment may be really totally unrelated, and if you want to wait a little bit, I can come back to me. But Mr. Huff brought it up, so I thought I'd comment. He said we're losing 2 good members. I couldn't figure out if that was Chalmers and Kurt or Chalmers and Nat. But I just wanted to tell him. He maybe wants to include my fellow council person.
All right, Mr. Crisp.
Council members, there's nothing we can do about Spotted Horse. Listen to me. If that were the only way in and out of that property, then the city could act on Spotted Horse. It is not the only entrance in or out of that property, and there is no record of an agreed right of way. nothing we can do about that. There will be two entrances in and out of that property. The fact that it goes through neighborhoods, I mean, you can look all over this city and there are entranceways that go through various neighborhoods. For example, to get to Surrey Meadows, people come through my neighborhood. But they're city streets, and they have a perfect right to do that. In regards to the fire station, Mr. Moe, the optimum time is 5 to 7 minutes. That fire station over there on Lake Rim can be there through these entranceways and exits within that allotted time. So we're just beating a dead horse here, and that dead horse is Spotted Horse. There's nothing we can do about it. Thank you.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Mr. Harmon. On this map, you have down at the pointed area, and there's look like a dirt road headed to a major road. What is that road?
That's the Spotted Horse lane that we've been discussing. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
You're talking
right
about
here.
Right here.
Right. Now, this undeveloped road, have we considered that as an exit to a major road to the Spotted Horse, or you have already two existing roads going through neighborhoods? But it seems like this would be a good road. It can't be done.
Unfortunately, that's not really a road. It's just a driveway.
I understand it's
albeit a long driveway.
Can it be developed?
At this point, the owner of that road is not, part of this equation.
That was my question. Thank you.
Mr. Moe.
Thank you. I got a question for both Mr. Harmon and Mr. Kaiser. And again, people ask me questions, so I'm not beating a dead horse. I got legitimate questions, and y'all need to respect that. If this rezoning is approved, and this is the general layout of the road patterns, can it come back later since it's a straight rezoning and apartments and other things be added to get to a $200 or 200 house limit maximum? Because this is not a conditional, this is a straight rezoning.
At this point, because it's a straight rezoning, or if it were conditional, they're only going to SF10. That's all they're asking.
Okay.
SF10 does not allow multifamily in the form of apartments.
Okay.
So no, they could not come back with that.
And that's good because, Highcroft, those are nice homes. I've been in the front part, they are nice homes. And for Mr. Kaiser, the way I understood it, with the coming through Highcroft, early on, phase 1 is the western part according to your diagram. So that'll be the entrance in and out for all the construction vehicles, everything else, because the road from Loxie and up is not there yet.
Yes.
And then section 1 goes all the way up around the curve, going towards that northern connection.
Right.
Would you connect that road, since you're going to be building anyway, from the very beginning, even though lots 18, 19, 21, 22, and 20 are part of phase 3, those couple houses right where the green road comes in, will that road be connected? I mean, when you, I think you're calling it Stackhouse Drive.
Yes, Stackhouse. On the initial phase, no. Obviously, it'll be right there. But we'll want to tie in that water probably by the time we do the second phase. So there'll be a path there where you could theoretically drive in that way if you wanted to, but there won't be a paved road there with the initial phase.
Because you have to do the underground utilities and things. Okay, so phase 1 really would be coming from Hoke Loop Road versus West Point.
Right.
Which will alleviate some of the concerns, the West Point neighborhood, so they know what's going on, but early on.
Right. There's a phase takedown of the property, and the family that's there will be there for a little bit while we do the first phase before they leave. So, so that we're kind of trying to move that way, going back to the east as we're doing the development. So,
No, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moe. Council, I'll go to you for action, please.
Oh, this is City Council District 8, and I was going to vote to recommend denial But after hearing how the phase is going in, hearing how Spotted Horse Lane, you can't find the easement, Mr. Harmon, you confirm that. It's not a viable option. It's not gonna work. Plus the BMP is at the very bottom. And there is going to be multiple entrances and exits. And there is no real major drainage. I've been back by parts of that. I just hope there's no hurricane like in the next 3 years before you get connected Stackhouse all the way through. Otherwise, we'll be having a Kathy Jensen neighborhood type issue. So I'll recommend that we follow the recommendation and rezone from SF 15 to SF 10.
Second.
Do you want to speak, Mr. Wright? Okay. All right, seeing no questions, council, I'll ask for your vote at this time. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. Mr. Huff, you know, I have got to tell you no, but that's never stopped you before, so.
When you worry about the water, you need to have them bring you some topo, because Spotted Horse sits on a hill, and both sides are ravines 40 feet deep. There's no such thing as a flood until God says he's going to flood everything that's ever going to cause it to back up. Please don't let Matthew, when you have one entrance over a creek and it blows out, that's one thing. But there's no creeks we're crossing in here, so don't let Matthew get you all locked up about doing anything going forward, because there should be no concern about flooding on this piece of property. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I thought he was gonna tell us who the third person was.
Go ahead, Mr. McDougal. You know, who is it? Council, these next two items should be fairly fast, I think. Do we want to take a break now, or do we want to keep moving forward? Okay, we'll keep moving. Item 10.01 is the adoption of budget ordinance for stormwater management fund in reference to privately owned dams from Hurricane Matthew. Councilmember Art.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would move that we adopt the attached resolution to appropriate the funding for the contract engineering evaluations of privately owned dams damaged due to Hurricane Matthew.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Colvin. Is there discussion on the motion? Seeing none, council, I'll ask for your vote, please.
Thank you.
Good job, Mr. Stone.
Easy as not you're gonna have, sir.
Madam Clerk, that's unanimous that's unanimous. Item 10.03 is the Fayetteville Metropolitan Housing Authority request for adoption of the resolution confirming approval of an amount not to exceed $20 million for housing revenue bonds.
Mayor,
Mr. Colvin. Mr. Colvin?
Thank you, Ms. McDonald. Great presentation. This is a follow-up to what we've discussed already with the new project, I'm assuming, that Housing Authority is doing for bond issuances.
And that council approved last year in November.
So thank you. With that being said, I move that we accept item 10.03, allow the Housing Authority to issue bonds not to exceed $20 million for the projects that were approved on last year.
Second.
Okay. Seconded by Mr. Deviere. Any discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none, I'll ask for your vote, council. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. Motion to adjourn.
Ooh.